Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name's Deshaun and I'm here to talk about something that I didn't think would be a big deal, but as it turns out, it's becoming a big deal. Now, generally speaking, everyone loved the season finale of The Mandalorian. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. It's probably going to tip out. If it goes down, it's probably going to go down to maybe a 95, 94, 95. The Mandalorian's overall score on there and the Mandalorian Season 2 overall score is going to end up being even slightly higher than the last season of Mandalorian. So, Mandalorian Season 2 was a success, both by any metric you can put it. It helped boost Disney Plus's, viewer. It not only did it get more eyes on Disney Plus, it helped boost Disney Plus's subscriptions. It was the most viewed show of the last couple months. It's literally right behind. It's like right behind a couple shows, but it's been the most viewed show of the last couple months. And I think in the end it's going to end up being the most viewed show of the year. So, successful second campaign year. We'll see the Mandalorian Season 2 won't come out until this day. Today, I guess yesterday, until December of next year. So we're not going to see it again till an entire year from now. A little more than a year from now. A couple days away from being a year from now. So we don't know when it's going to come out, just December. Probably going to be early December. They might want to try to, speed it up. But, reason for that is, the reason that it's not coming out any sooner is because they got a bunch of shit now. It's because next month, WandaVision is going to come out, and then the next month after that, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to come out, and then the next month after that, Loki's going to come out, and the next month after that, What If's going to come out, and the next month after that, and then a couple months after that, I think Hawkeye's going to come out, and then, like I said, it's like, that's why they're not quite in a rush, because they got a bunch of big tempo, shows coming out. Not to mention, Star Wars has the Bad Batch that's coming next year too, so that should come out in a couple months from now as well. Soul comes out next week, on next Friday. So Disney Plus has a bunch of stuff on the table. They're not in a rush to speed the Mandalorian up, to rush it back to get back. No, to be fair, the Mandalorian is filming right now. Mandalorian Season 2 is already been written. They're getting the production stuff together. They're about to start filming. They're either filming now or they're about to start filming very soon. So it's gonna be right around the corner when it comes back. But the conversation I want to have, after I just got done talking about the success and why this show has done so good. First season got nominated for Best Drama of the Year, Best Drama at the Emmys, which is essentially the Best Picture Oscar. If we were doing that for Oscars, it got nominated for Best Picture. So that's how great this show is. And I thought yesterday everyone came together in unison and was like, "Oh my God, I couldn't believe the Luke Skywalker scene. The Luke Skywalker scene was amazing." And I'm gonna try, and please do not watch this video. If you have not seen spoilers, I just spoiled it. But please don't watch this video. Please don't watch it any further if you don't want to really get into the details of it. But I'm going to really get into the details of this now because I've seen a division. Small division. It's just like most things. There's this tiny group of individuals, and some of them include some people that I love and respect, and I still love and respect them, but I just disagree with them. One which being Dan Murrell, who's somebody whose opinions I've always kind of lined up with. I've always appreciated Dan's opinion. I've always followed him, even wherever he was. And I was like, I love that guy. I love that guy's opinion. The guy knows movies. He knows how to enjoy stuff. And I finally disagree with him because there's this divide in people, and Dan's one of the people that are really in that, who don't like the fact that Luke Skywalker showed up in this series. Don't like the fact that he was anywhere near this series, but doesn't like the fact that he showed up in this series. And it revealed this certain section of Star Wars fandom that, admittedly, I might have agreed with them, but they think they take it a little too far. There's this section of Star Wars fandom that want product that has absolutely nothing to do with Jedi or anything to do with the Skywalkers, anything to do with anything anything like that of that nature. They want to see stories about some dude on Coruscant who just dumps the trash and he gets in trouble with legal problems. They want to see the the more artsy, the more like you know what I'm talking about. I think I've had this conversation before with you guys about how there's certain people and how they come at the MCU about that all the time. It's like, oh, we want something more artful. We want something more artsy fartsy that's, you know, darker and maybe just, you know, just weirder. We want something like that. So you know that you know those people. Those same people kind of are a subgroup of these Star Wars fans who just don't want anything to do with those characters. And I felt like a lot of those people were willing to accept Bo-Katan, were willing to accept Ahsoka, were willing to accept certain characters because in their minds it was like, you know what? At the end of the day, because like I said, in their minds, it kind of went something like, at the end of the day, these are characters who have never showed up live action before, so they're making the transition over, and they'll just live in this space. You know, it's kind of a natural transition. Dave Filoni worked on Clone Wars and Rebels, so it makes sense. You know, they were willing to accept that. But this last episode, Luke Skywalker showed up, and in a glorious kick-ass action sequence that was amazing. I mean, it was awesome choreography, the music, the score, the way it was shot, all of it was great. But then you kind of come across people who, they can't even focus on that. Like, one of the guys I was watching, if you even ask him, I was like, oh, it looked great. But he couldn't even focus on how great it was just because it was Luke. And he was like, why? Why do you gotta bring Luke into this? Luke into this undoes everything. And I'm like, what, man? There's a tangent of people right now who are like, I hated this episode because you brought Luke into this. And if you want to argue about the deep fake thing they did with Luke Skywalker, with Mark Hamill's face kind of being a deep fake on top of another person who looks very similar to him when he was young, his face, and Mark Hamill just, you know, saying dialogue. Like, if you want to talk about that, okay, that's a conversation to be had because that wasn't done very well. I've seen Disney do better de-aging stuff, but I guess they couldn't really go that far because it was like, oh man, but Luke, because like Mark Hamill was so much tinier. It was so long ago. Like, they made it was really rough. I mean, or maybe just, actually, now I'm thinking about it, maybe Star Wars just doesn't have access to the technology that Marvel has access to. Who knows? But yeah, like I said, they did a pretty shitty job with it, in my opinion. They did a pretty crappy job with it. But put it this way. In the moment, I didn't care, but I did notice it. But the only time it ever bothered me was Tarkin. That's it. I never really cared about that kind of stuff. As long as it serves the story, it doesn't have to look the best. I hope you can make it look better, you know. But the only time it ever bothered me was Tarkin, because Tarkin was like full body CGI character with nothing about him was real. But they were trying to make him look real. So when he's standing next to people who are real, it just looks weird. Whereas with Luke, it's just his face. It's an actual person there. It's just the face is, you know, kind of CGI'd over. So that's it. It's just the face with Luke. Whereas with Tarkin, it was his entire being. Everything he was fake. And it was just weird. But anywho. There's a divide. Like I said, there's a divide. There are people who are angry about this. There are people who can't even go on without this. There are people who are jumping to huge conclusions. Because at the end of the episode, Baby Grogu goes off with Luke Skywalker to go train under him. Now, for what I've read, Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Force Awakens takes place over 30 years after Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker doesn't actually make the temple and start bringing in Padawans and training them, like the temple wise, until Ben Solo was 10 years old. Ben would be 4 years old at that moment in the last episode, which means there's still a 7-year gap before he starts the thing. And there's even still a bigger gap before Ben grows up and burns down the temple. Yet everyone is jumping to the conclusion, yet there are a bunch of people jumping to the conclusion that says, well, then that just means Baby Grogu's dead. If he goes off at Luke, then that means he's dead. And I'm like, that is such a stupid thing to jump to, especially with so much time in between. If you've been keeping up with Star Wars, if you've watched things like Rebels and Clone Wars, then you know there are more details to be seen. There are more things to this than what you see. Like, for instance, it's easy to ask, why was why were certain characters not involved here? And then they answer that question. And to me, the show seems to do that all the time. Whenever the show leaves out a question, you go, like for instance, when the show first started, when The Mandalorian first started, one of the big things that people were talking about, you know, Star Wars fans were talking about was, why can't Din Djarin, aka Mando, take off his helmet? If you watch Clone Wars and you watch Rebels, you're like, well, Mandalorians can take off their helmet anytime they want to. They've always taken off their helmets. And then they answer that question this season. Why can't he? Because he's part of a cultish sect of Mandalorians who don't believe in taking off their helmets. That's against the creed that we should always wear our helmets. And which turns out that the reason they do that is because only one Mandalorian can go above ground at a time, and the strategy behind that is so that they don't know how many Mandalorians are actually there. If you just see one Mandalorian walking around, and he disappears, it seems like it might just be one. They can't actually answer how many Mandalorians there are. So really, it's a strategy and a part of the creed, because as it turns out, the original founder of Mandalore, I know I'm getting real nerdy here, but the original founder of Mandalore, when he died, they just took his armor and started wearing it. And the idea is that he never really, as long as someone's wearing the armor, he never actually died. And you live your life up to him, and you never actually died. So that's where the concept came from the origin of Mandalore. Like the base of Mandalore was around keeping a helmet on so no one could tell who, so that we're all one. We're all one being. We're all one Mandalore. We're a united Mandalorian front. But I digress. We found that out, though. We found out that's why he can't take off the helmet. And like I said, people jump into the conclusion that Baby Grogu is going to die, that this happens, that happens. They're not really putting enough thought into it, in my opinion. And they're freaking out. And anyone who's freaking out about Luke Skywalker showing up and thinking, like, there are legit people who are like, Luke Skywalker stole the show. Like, oh, he's took the show. It's going to be Skywalker show now. I'm like, that's not what's happening here. It's pretty clear to me and obvious that next season will start off, Baby Grogu will be reunited with Mando after some years have passed. Probably 2 or 3 years. I would go on a limb and say 2 or 3 years. I feel comfortable saying that. 2 or 3 years. Because at that point, Luke would still not, he'd still be just traveling the galaxy trying to find out, man, they should make a video game out of this. Baby Grogu with Luke. Oh, man, they should make a video game out of this. Anyways, let me calm down. But Luke's not gonna just show up and be throughout the entirety of Mandalorian. No, he's gonna be training Baby Grogu. Something's gonna happen where Baby Grogu ends up reuniting with him. Luke might make another cameo, but it's gonna be sparingly. It's gonna be in and out. It's not gonna be a whole series around Luke Skywalker. They're not gonna wrap the whole thing up in that. But the thing about it is it makes sense that Luke showed up. I've been arguing with people all yesterday, is that the fact of the matter is when Grogu sent out his beacon, he reached out into the Force and contacted a Jedi. The only Jedi it would make any logical sense for him to contact, because it would either be Ahsoka or Luke, but Ahsoka refused to train him, so it would have been dumb if Ahsoka showed up. The only Jedi that it makes a single ounce of sense is Luke. Because Luke is the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy. At this point, at this moment in time, Luke Skywalker is the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy. He's a bad motherfucker. They showed it off there, which was so great, because honestly, that's what Star Wars fans wanted. That's what I wanted. When I heard that Mark Hamill was coming back in The Last Jedi, I wanted that. I wanted him to do some badass shit. And I argued about this on my channel. Go back and look at my Last Jedi review with Seth and Mark. I argued that. I wanted Luke to be a bad motherfucker. I was like, oh my god, he's going to destroy these AT-ATs. I think they're called AT-ATs. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But I wanted him to destroy him, and I thought he was going to just do some badass shit and take them all out and be just like, yes, this is powerful, Jedi Luke Skywalker. And they didn't even do that. They didn't do that. We get to see a badass Luke Skywalker, what he's become. He's a force of nature now, no pun intended. He's like his father before him, but he's even more badass. I mean, think about it like this. One of those robots, he just crushed with the Force. Din was shooting the fuck out that thing from point blank range. Nothing was happening. Luke just crushed that bitch with the Force. Like, it was so awesome. And like I said, it makes logical sense. He's the most powerful Jedi at this point in time, as many other people have said. He was at this moment in time, he's in the process of searching for other Jedi. So The most powerful Jedi in the world is out at this moment searching for other Jedi. A powerful Jedi reaches out through the Force and calls out for help. Like, what did you think? Come on, man. Not to mention, it was just 10 minutes. I've seen people lose their mind over this. I've seen people, like, literally, they're denouncing the show. I can't get with it. That ruined it all for me. I'm like, dude, he was in 16 episodes of basically nothing that has anything to do with the Skywalkers. And he shows up for 10 minutes and leaves, and now you're out. I tell you, man, Star Wars fans are a bunch, dude. Star Wars fans are a bunch. They're, you know, us, the Marvel fans, you know, the MCU Marvel fans, we're crazy too. You know how I get into it. I'm still getting into it over Captain Marvel. But, man, them Star Wars fans, they're nuts, man. You give them what they want, they don't like it. You don't give them what they want, they don't like it. You do something different, they might not like it. You do something great, there's going to be some contrarian. Oh, man, the Star Wars fans are great. But me personally, I loved that Luke Skywalker showed up. I didn't think, like I said, CGI, other than the CGI, the choreography on the fight sequence was just awesome. It was everything you imagine the Chosen One would be. You know what I mean? Like, in your head, you're like, Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, bad motherfucker. Yeah, he should be able to do all of this. And because, like, you don't really get to see that stuff in the original. Because, you know, in the original Star Wars, it's less about the fight sequences. It's less about the choreography. It's less about how awesome they look. And more about the Shakespearean story they're playing with. But it's like, but when you know how Jedi can be, when you know how good Jedi can fight, you kind of go, well, yeah, that would mean Luke Skywalker must be the baddest motherfucker who walked the face of the planet. And, like, seeing him do all that shit just made me go, man, like, that was awesome. That was awesome. I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure how they're going to do everything. Season 2 is going to be interesting. I'm going to make a separate video, my predictions for Season 2. But I really wanted to make this video just to get my opinion out there. There are a lot of people who are divided on the Luke Skywalker thing. I loved it. I loved the episode. It was a great finale. Big kudos to Mark Hamill for keeping this a secret. He's talking about it right now. I don't see how people got their... I don't know why people got their horns up for this. Thank you guys for watching the Copy Game Movie Show again. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.